Thank you all for being here and welcome. It was so wonderful to see and experience and be part of the ceremony that you gifted to us last night. So thank you very much. Everybody is talking about it, and we were all so captivated by the beauty and grace and the spirit of all your ancestors and our ancestors meeting together on the Bungle ground last night. For those in the audience who don't know anything about you all, could we just please start with a quick introduction, and maybe if you just tell us your name and your country or who your tribe or clan is, that would be really, really wonderful. We might start from this side. Thank you.
Hello? Okay. Yat e bene, that means good morning. My name is Jason Desosi Inishe, Tabahan Nishlem, Batatni Bashchin, Ashin Dashe, Twitchin Indashanella. That's my introduction. My name is Jason Desosi, and I live in Phoenix, Arizona with my companion, Kenneth Kozad. He's on the end. And our 10-year-old son. He is Kenneth Kozad Jr., and we really miss him right now. So, thank you.
Amitakiapi, Chantewastenape, Chuzapi, Tishinaredhak, Imachiapi, Honanaku Ampetio Oni Hawimie, Wakia Changleshka Tawicho te Hamataha, Na Unchimita Chajaki, Shirland Red Hawk, Na Viola Good Voice, Na Mad White Shield, Na Tatewa Kawi. As I see some familiar faces, once again, my name is Tashina Red Hawk. My Lakota name is Honors a Day Woman, and I come from Old Ring Thunder, this old traditional community in the Rosebud Sioux tribe of South Dakota.
Mitakiapi, Chante Washtenapia, Chuzapi, Noella Red Hawky Machiapi. My name is Noella Red Hawk, and I'm from the Seminole Nation out of Brighton, Florida, and I currently live in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Singatamo, my name is Melanie Matthews. I am Tewa from Santa Clara Pueblo in New Mexico. And I am sort of responsible for bringing this group of people together to share with you this weekend. So thank you.
Ado na nashlengi e kilachini nashle natlana basha chink last jay dasha chay do natlana dashanala. Hello, my name is Seneca Martin. I come from Sholo, Arizona, and currently reside in Fargo, North Dakota.
Good afternoon. My name is Jerome Marcus. My native name is Standing Rock. I'm named after a rock pillar where I'm from. The elevation there is 7,300 feet. It's called Taos Pueblo, which is a World UNESCO World Heritage Site. Anybody come and visit someday, you're more than welcome to. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Kenny Kozad Sr. I come from the Kiowa and Comanche nations out of southwest Oklahoma. My original town is called Anadarko, Oklahoma. I come from a small community outside of Anadarko. It's called Hawk Creek. And that's where a lot of Kiowas live. There's a bunch of Kiowas that live in this one small community. And so that's where I come from. And right now I reside in Phoenix, Arizona, like you said, with my companion at the end of the table. So welcome. Thank you.
Thank you all. I think it's wonderful, and it really, as we've been saying over the past few days, there's been so much of our culture and our cultural practices and our lenses on the world. It is just, there's been so many extraordinary parallels. But Melanie, we might start with you. Would you be able to please tell us a little bit about the Gathering of Nations powwow, and I think what that intersection is, and are there any similarities, do you think, in terms of the way that we exchange knowledge and culture and how it's done at your powwow?
Absolutely. So the Gathering of Nations is the largest Native American event slash festival in North America. We bring together over 2,500 dancers and singers from across all tribes in the United States, Canada, and from around the world. We've actually had a few participants from here in Australia, of Indigenous people. As well as in spectators, we bring in 100,000 people every year, so it's a huge event, and it centers on culture. It's dance, it's horse parades, it's a pageant with Miss Indian World. There's so many elements that come together, but more importantly is that it is a social gathering of Native people to be one. It's a time where we can celebrate our culture, we can celebrate ourselves, we can look at ourselves and see a reflection of our own identities and the similarities between what we do with Gathering of Nations and what Garma does is it is a center, it's a hub that brings dialogue, it brings conversations, it brings a spiritual awareness, it brings a lot of different things and elements of our traditional lives and our cultures into one place, and it's very, very powerful. And at the end of how we put all of it together, it's very thoughtful. The teams that we have come from all over the United States and some out of Canada. They bring their expertise, they bring their tribal knowledge and some of the key things that help make Gathering of Nations a true Gathering of Nations. And I feel in my second year here at Garma is that this too is somewhat of a gathering of tribal nations. And it is an amazing feeling when you can be amongst your own people in a country that is so far away, but this is like home. And a lot of folks who have come from here, and one specifically is Denise Bowden, when she came, it touched her in a way that this has touched all of us. And Gathering of Nations is one of the, it's a pivot. It has allowed communities and people to come and find a little bit of spark to take back with them. One instance we had, there was a community out of northern Canada in Alberta, and it was on the verge of losing its language, it was on the verge of losing a lot of its culture, and we were contacted by their tribal leadership and asked, could they bring their children, could they bring their youth? It was a busload of about 100 kids. Most of them had been in and out of jail. Most of them have had substance abuse issues at very young ages. And so they felt this might be the last effort to try to save their community and save their children. They came to the gathering, and before, on their way down, they had no interest. They didn't want to learn their language. They felt this was a waste of time. Why are we doing this? By the end of the first day of the event, these kids were so engaged. They were meeting other Indigenous people and kids, peers from tribes that they didn't know existed, and they could see that there was something similar about themselves in these other children with them, their peers, like I said. And it made such a difference. By the next day, these kids were wanting to participate. These kids were asking their leaders and their chaperones, where can we get outfits? Where can we do this? We want to dance, we want to sing. And so it sparked that bit of wanting to reconnect with their culture. And it's so wonderful when you can reach that age that they're developing before they just completely leave their culture and leave their humanity. And that is one thing that we were so proud of. When they got home, they said they re-engaged, they got their schools together, they started language immersion programs, they started youth crafts so they could make outfits. And that was about maybe 10 years ago. And now many of the children that came to the Gathering of Nations have now gone on to college and have reached out and branched out, and their tribe is now thriving with culture. So those are just some of the things that we've been able to do and opportunities that we've given. And I'm sure that Garma also is a platform to be able to grow and develop a lot of the Indigenous communities here.
Amazing. I think one of the questions that always comes to people's minds, especially as Australians, is what does the regalia mean? I see that everybody's wearing different necklaces, there's different beading, different cultural adornments, and it'll be really wonderful if we could maybe just start over here with these ladies, and please just share as much as you wish to, but how and why are there different designs, and what is the meaning?
So regalia is what we call what we wear when we perform, like our performance last night. A lot of times you'll hear people refer to what we're wearing as a costume. Costume is something that you're dressing up when you're pretending to be something that you're not. So it's not a costume to us. They're a living history, they're a living tradition, they're a written language, they're honored pieces. There's specific pieces on our regalias that we have to earn before we could even wear them. There's acts of generosity, kindness, empathy that we have to portray before we're bestowed these things. In our tribes, before we could wear feathers in our hair, we have to go through a specific ceremony. We have Ishnati ceremonies that we have. We have our name ceremonies, and then we're permitted the right to wear these. Some of our indigenous people may live their entire lives and not be adorned with as many things as we were blessed to be able to bring over here for you this year at Gama. And the sacredness, as it was explained by one of our dancers, Seneca, last night, his feathers that he has earned based on his attributes and his contribution to our nation and our people. And so each one of our pieces that we wear all have specific cultural significance, all the way down to each individual shell that you see on here, our dentillions, and each one of us are adorned by people who love us, and we call it saichia, so we adorn those that we love, and you always hear the phrase that we have to suffer to be beautiful. That's in our culture too, because the more that you're adorned, it shows the love of your families.
So I'm Navajo, and we're not traditionally powwow people, but I've danced since I was born in powwows. My uncle really brought us up in the powwow circle, and he started out, and he started to learn how to bead and from the Fort Hall people. So he taught my sister and I how to bead and how to bead for ourselves. And Navajo traditional wear, we're weavers. So, preconceived notions, when we came to Australia, I was so excited to see big spiders everywhere. I have not seen one at all. So in our way, the Navajo, it's called the Spider Woman, and she's the one that's in charge of weaving, showing us how to weave, and our designs, so that's who we look to. So I was so excited to see spiders. But so our beadwork, so I was wearing the Navajo sash belt last night that was woven, and our squash blossom that I was wearing last night, and then usually we wear turquoise, and that's for protection, so we always wear turquoise with us. And then my beaded outfit, I had the red outfit with the birds, so my late uncle made that for me, and my name's Jacinta, but everyone calls me Jay, so he beaded the bluebirds on my top. The bluebirds, the jaybirds. And then I'm from Arizona, so he put the cardinals on there for me, because I'm from Arizona. And then on the edging, I have a black and orange edging. It's because my birthday's in October for Halloween. So that's what my beadwork represents.
And so this is my mother, so this is where I get a good majority of my knowledge. So she already shared quite a bit with you that I would like to share, like the word sha'ichia, which is when you love someone, you decorate them beautifully. That's how you honor and you cherish your loved ones. But in addition, we're caretakers of the land, and the land takes care of us. So even this bracelet I have on, these are porcupine quills. So even the animals, they help decorate us. And back in the day, the Lakota people were known as a buffalo nation because they were our way of survival. They were our house, our clothing, our food. Everything came from the buffalo. And so I demonstrated my breastplate representing a buffalo rib cage. In addition to that, so we Lakota people have our geometric designs, which are almost like a written language in itself. We speak our language verbally through tongue, but also when we create these designs, they all symbolize something. So I was wearing this medallion yesterday that's my father's, and I wear it as protection. It's his story. It demonstrates his way of life and his purpose on this earth, but coming from him, I wear that as protection. And so each little geometric design that we had on us, every little detail down to the simplicity of our beads, our shells, the colors, they all have a whole bit of symbolism. They all have something to represent and somewhere where they came from.
Seeing that we're not in the regalia that we were wearing last night, I will say that a lot of the adornments that we do have represent all the four directions, represent all the elements, and that is something that's incorporated into everything that we wear. It has a spiritual meaning, and it also has a family meaning. The outfit I wore yesterday, which was a big, large beaded buckskin top, the designs came from my tribe. They were representative of the rain. My clan is Winter Clan, and so a lot of the ceremonies we do are during the winter months, and so it's representative of wanting to have a good harvest. So there's a lot of elements of thunderclouds, rain, corn, because that was a staple for our people. And also on the back of my outfit was representative of what I wear when our traditional dances are, which is a tablita, which is a headboard. And when we wear that, it also becomes, we embody the spirits that we dance for, and we also give that energy that comes to us, through us, to those who watch, for those who need helping and healing. So anything and everything, as they've said previously, that we wear has a lot of significance and meaning, not just to us, but to our families, to our tribes, and to the spirits that we do carry with us and around us.
Well, thanks to my beautiful relatives for explaining majority of what we're wearing. But I will say that each particular part of the regalia has thought and meaning behind it, and each strand of bead has a prayer that goes along with it. And with these designs that we have, they're visions and dreams that have come to us in a blessing way. So, in a way, it represents the holy people. And what I'm wearing today is what my sister envisioned in me. So, she put these designs in my accomplishments and things I've done in my life. And I continue to still grow that. And, you know, it continues for me to learn my ways and craft. And I'm thankful for that because the holy people gave me that knowledge, and it was passed down from my grandmother, my aunts, my uncles, and the stuff we wear, it's passed from generation to generation, so it doesn't end here. And we could pass it down to our kids, whether it's having a new design or the regalia we're wearing. And nowadays, you'll see that most of what people wear, they're really old and fragile, and there's prayer behind it. And it's such a blessing to have and wear. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Seneca. Well, I'm not sure how many of you people were at our show yesterday, but you'll notice that I was wearing a headdress comprised. There was 2 feathers on the top. And in the dancing world, traditionally they're called honor feathers, and those are the feathers that are earned through accomplishment, like he was talking about. The first feather I earned, although these are newer feathers, but the original feathers that I still keep, and I revere them, the first one was I earned when I finished at the top of my classes at the police academy. That was in 1980. And then my second one came when I was in an actual shootout where we were able to overcome the person that was trying to do damage to other people. So I was given that honor by my grandfather, who his name was Ben Marcus. He was the one that gave us my dancing tradition with our family, growing up doing family shows. But the significance of some of the things that we're talking about, like the outfits, you'll see that I was wearing a long breastplate. Originally, those are made of hair pipe bones, shorter versions. These are exaggerated versions because we want to be seen. But they're protection against arrows and rocks and tomahawks and stuff like that. And that was a little explanation of that part. And on the feet, you may have seen that I was wearing some sheep wool. Well, those significant, they're called fetlocks, or skin from the goat, because they're sure-footed. And so as warriors, we want to be sure-footed in what we do if and when we're able to either attack or retreat. So those are some of the significance of the outfits and the items that I wear. From where I'm from the Pueblo of Taos, called the land of the Red Willow people, our dances and our traditional wear is very sacred, so we don't wear those items out in the open. We keep those very secret and sacred and traditionally safe. From now, I'm sure people sneak photographs with cameras and technology, but however, when we have our ceremonial dances, when we're wearing our garbs, there's no recording or photography allowed for those events. Thank you for your time.
Hello. I'm the singer for the group here, and I'm just gonna kind of base on what I was using yesterday, my instrument. Yeah, as you can tell, I have using a drum, and that's kind of where I'm at here with that, and I didn't really have too much on, as far as like everybody else, but I just want to explain a little bit about that, the drum that I was using, our instrument, what we call our sacred drum. And I want to just utilize that here in a good way. That's the heartbeat of our people. That's the main thing that we have to have in order for our people to dance, is our drum. And I had a late grandfather, his name was Leonard Kozad Sr., and he said, the most powerful part of a drum is the nucleus. It's in the middle. Whatever you want, it's going to be right there. That's the most powerful part of the drum. And so I always keep that in my shirt pocket wherever I go. And whenever I utilize this instrument, I always think about my people, my folks. Try to be grounded as much as possible, because we're just common people, we see that word .com on everything. Well, I always say that's what I am. I'm just a common, ordinary man. I try to get along with everybody, to try to teach people our little ways, our traditional songs. That's how I grew up with music. My family is music people. We're traditional people. We also adorn ourselves with our own tribal affiliation that we have, our traditional wear. We have ceremonies just like all of our people that's up on this panel here. And we all have our different songs, different outfits that we use. And just past month ago, we had our tribal ceremonies where I do have to dance, where I have to put on my traditional outfit. Because within my people, it's called the Kiowa Nation. I hold a position within our tribe. It's called the whip man, and it's a lifetime position that was bestowed upon me in 1993, and I had it all this time now. So those are some of the things, a little bit about me, the instrument that I was using. Wherever we go, we have to have a drum. You have to have that. You can probably use a radio, CDs or whatever, but that's not appropriate. You have to have the actual drum. And so that's what I was using yesterday. It used to be a live animal at one time, but somewhere in there, like I said, it took a life so that way that we can enjoy ourselves. But at the same time, it's still the spiritual element, and we try to take care of that. So I just wanted to explain a little bit about my part here. Thank you.
I think that's such a beautiful way of articulating that the drum is the heartbeat of ourselves and our families and our relatives and our people. And I think, there's that parallel between the bilma, our clapsticks, which set the rhythm, and they are the footsteps, and that's what drives us all forward. I think what we're all really interested, and from a Yolngu perspective also, is are those drum making techniques and the beading techniques and the jewelry making techniques, are they passed down through the generations, and how are you all engaging the younger generations to continue on for future generations?
So, and thank you, I'll take this question. So at one of our wachipi is what we say in our language, which means powwow. I had 7 fully beaded outfits on other people. And so I've been beading all my life and teaching the beadwork style. I teach 4 different tribes style, because every tribe can be identified by not only their beading style and their patterns. but the way that the beads are laid, and so it's very specific, the different regions of beadwork that's done, and that's recognized by every tribe. For the most part, all of our tribal members can identify the different beadwork techniques and identify it with that specific nation. Same with also the colors in the beadwork. They're all specific, and you've heard that throughout this stage here. Cheyennes are pinks, and you've got your Dene, which are your turquoise, and you got your Lakotas, which are your red, white, yellow, and black. And so how we pass those down is they're raised this way, just as your indigenous children that we've seen out in the dance arbor in your nations here when they start as babies. That's the same. So Peti Onihawi, before she was even born, had to have her fully beaded cradle board. And on that cradle board had all of her great-great-great-grandmother's designs. And the reason why that great-great-grandmother got to be on her regalia is because her great-great-great-grandmother's daughter, who was still living at the time, gave all that beadwork to Tashina. And then we named in honor Tashina Sapawi, Black Shawl Woman, Tashina Wambli, Tashina Eagle. So that name and those designs got passed down. So her designs that she wore in her regalia or in her beadwork are over 4 generations old. And so we just raise our children growing up in this manner, just like you, the indigenous people here, raise their children in the grounds dancing in their diapers. We call that division tiny tots. And so when our children are born in our nation, we'll wrap them in the beadwork, in the cradle boards. And she actually stayed in her cradle board for the first 4 months of her life, because we never put them in strollers. We carry them close like this. So we would just prop her against the wall in her cradle board when we would go places, and she would stay swaddled that entire time. She grew very fast, which is why it was only lasted 4 months. We didn't expect a 5'7" child out of a 5'1" mom.
You can tell I'm quite a bit taller than my mom, but my dad's a true Lakota warrior looking style. He's 6'6" and everything. And so just like my mother said, is that we're intergenerational. By all means, our songs, our stories, our traditions, and our regalia, our beadwork, like you mentioned, it's all passed down. And it's like a right. Like as a woman, it's like a right that you earn, that you carry forward in order to learn how to decorate your family. And some way that you mentioned in your second half of your question is, how do you keep the children involved? Like what encourages them? How do you teach them? It's just that you have the patience and you have the kindness to sit down and do that with them and make it fun. So yesterday, our dance that we demonstrated, that's like a part of what we would do at our wachipis, our powwows, but that's our time to celebrate, to come together and dance and have fun. We have our 7 sacred ceremonies. Most of us, we go to these ceremonies, we sacrifice, we pray, we do all of that's required there in order so that we can come and have fun at these dances. And so for our children to keep them going, we put them in the circle right away. We make them involved. We show them how fun it is to dance at a little young age. And as soon as they're interested, if a child comes up to you and you're making something, and they're really trying to touch, and it may seem a little annoying, you don't shoo them away. We don't treat our children like that. If they're interested, we sit down with them and we explain what's going on. And my niece already started beading probably about 4 years ago, and she's currently 13. So you have that time and patience and compassion for them, and that's just how it continues to keep growing and keep getting passed down.
Thank you. I'm a retired person, so I had figured out what I needed to do on my free time. So I had been making moccasins for our outfits for my family and for other people, native traditional moccasins made out of deerskin and buffalo soles. And so that's what I do now. I usually just work in the mornings, but I have a 9-year-old boy. And like she was saying, he would come around when I would be doing the sewing, and he literally asked me, how can I make one like you? And I told him, quit bothering me at first. And then I realized, I thought about it, and I thought he really wants to learn how to do it. And he's an ADHD person, so he's always needing something to do. So I started cutting out little patterns for him for baby moccasins, and he's been able to sell some baby moccasins to some people around the community, and actually some tourists that had come in to visit Taos Pueblo. So when you asked that about how we're going to pass that down, I truly believe that I can hand this. It's an art of moccasin making that I can hand it down to him. So it's already in him now. All he has to do is just do it. So that was just my little addendum. Thank you.
I think everything that everyone has said is true. It's actually the way that things go. But one of the things is trying to bring in young people into retaining them into a culture is you've got to make it relevant. You've got to meet them where they are, and with so much outside influences, digital, you've got social medias, and you've got television, you've got everything else in the world. It's really hard to hone in and keep these youth, the children, involved and engaged. So one of the things that has happened over the years and in my lifetime is a lot of the regalias that have been worn, not in our traditional ceremonies, but in these social environments like powwows. We've added a lot of bling to it. We've added rhinestones, sequins, brighter colors. We've done things that have made it so that it's attractive and it's eye-catching. And one of the things about powwows is they aren't just social, which that is the primary and should always be the primary heart of why we do it. But we do have competition events. And with those competition events, it has curated a lot of outfits that have just really become extraordinary as far as the details and the sparkles and the colors and size. When I was a child and I'd see old pictures and footage of powwows and other events that involved dancing, the outfits were very simple. It was cloth, maybe a couple ribbons, few feathers. You saw very little of the things that we wear now. So it's been an evolution. And I always have said, and I've been told from generations ago, is that what was traditional at a certain point in time was probably their contemporary, their bling. And so as we have evolved in fabrics and the sparkles, the beads, we don't make beads. These beads come from probably China or somewhere in Asia. So we have adopted and incorporated these things and have adorned ourselves, but it doesn't carry any less significance. So I know a lot of people are wondering, like, why do we have so much brilliance when, we're traditional people? And that's why, is because time and evolution and relevance has brought that to where we are today. But like I said, in our traditional ceremonies, and all of us participate in things that are specific to our tribes, we don't carry those into those ceremonies. They still are very organic. The things that we wear, as Jerome had mentioned, he makes moccasins, and for his people, those moccasins are plain. They don't have adornments. They are simple. And one of the things about for my tribe, our moccasins are wraps. They have hard bottoms, they have black bottoms, and they are white. And of course, that's representative of our clan, which is winter. But at the same time, it is something that when we can bridge the contemporary with the traditional and meet somewhere in the middle, it keeps those youth engaged, because we can see that we need to grab them before we lose them. And so that's one of the things that I just wanted to share. Thank you.
Can I add on real quick? Oh, well, maybe he's going to do it. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Maybe we're thinking the same thing. It's weird because we're never separated and we're like on opposite sides. So I'm watching him on this screen right here. When he walked over there, I was all, no. But he'll probably speak on it. But we speak about our beadwork and art, but he's not going to really say much. But I feel like music is art, right? His songs are art. So he knows powwow music, like hundreds of powwow music, different types of songs. He knows Native American church songs, or songs that have meaning for everything, like when the sun comes up and when the woman brings in water. He knows all those songs and the appropriate times to sing them. He knows his traditional Kiowa gourd songs, and those have hundreds of songs too, and there's certain times that you sing those songs. So the song keepers are a very important role, what he does. He has all these songs, the meanings, and how to sing them and when's the appropriate time to sing them. So I didn't want to downplay his side because music is art. And our child, seeing his dad sing all the time, he sang his first song when he was only 6 months old. And we heard him in the back of the car, and he was singing it, and I looked at my companion, and I was like, is he singing? And he's like, yeah, and he was singing his powwow. It's now his personal powwow song. Like, the family gave it to him. So that was the first song he ever sang. And he carries on with his dad, too. He knows so many songs, and so we're very proud of him because of that, too.
Thank you, sweetheart, for that. I'll just elaborate a little more, as far as the music part, it is an art. And it's something way back, like we didn't have recorders way back. That's what my folks used to say. Everything was one-on-one. You have to learn it by listening to your folks, to your old people. That's how I grew up. I grew up with my grandparents, too, throughout my life. And they were both knowledge keepers, all spoke their languages. But you can't have a ceremony without the music, the song. That's what makes the ceremony. You got to have that in order for everything to be complete. And so, like my companion was saying, all these songs, I try to teach our little son, as best as he can. And where we come from, you have to know about everything. There's do's and don'ts with a lot of things that we have and do. Certain things you can do, certain things you can't do. And so our son was 8 years old, and he went to a little tribal school where we used to live in Oklahoma. And they had a dance one time. And where we come from, we call a hit singer the person that's in charge of a drum. Well, they asked him if he would be a hit singer at 8 years old. And so first thing, of course, I got a hold of my family and asked him, And then we asked, his name was Junior. So we said, hey, Junior, you think you can do this, Because it's a big responsibility because you have to know starting songs, quitting songs. We even have a feast song. All them things are sung at a certain time of a powwow. And he said, yeah, Dad, I can do it. And I was amazed, I was kind of blown away, because I had my doubts, but I should have just not had my doubt, And so we went ahead and he accepted it. And he did good. He did everything just right. He sung, we have starting songs. Then after some of our starting songs of our gourd dance, we have what you call chief songs that you have to learn when you sing these certain songs. And he did it on his own. He did it on his own at 8 years old. And he's 10 years old now. So he took on that responsibility as a grown man should at a very young age, at 8 years old. And I'm not boasting or bragging, but I'm very proud of our son, If it's just little accomplishments of his life. Thank you. So as growing up, even with him, we never forced him to do anything. It was kind of like free will, But he always was around it. Our ceremonial dances, like she said, we also are leaders within this, what you call a Native American church. We're active leaders within that way of life. Also, before we came, we also pray within our, what you call a sweat hut. There's different names for it. And sometimes it can be very difficult in there with the heat, extremely difficult. And right now, where we live, it's 110 degrees, but we had a sweat hut in the mid-afternoon when they're telling people to stay inside, don't go out. But where we didn't listen to any of that. We lit a fire and we took off with it, And so he was in there all the rounds and he prayed. He even prayed for us over here, And I didn't really want to say too much because that's kind of like a private thing, but we're all Indians. We're all together here as natives here, as indigenous people. So he thought about y'all, and he don't even know y'all, but he wanted something good for everybody here. And so I wanted to just say that, because I'm proud of that, And maybe through his little prayer, everything worked out good thus far. Everything was wonderful, all our trip here. And so I'm thankful for that, of the art of singing. It's sometimes you can go to a powwow, you might be feeling bad, maybe you might be down and out, maybe thinking of somebody. You're going to show up, you're going to hear this song. It's art. It's going to make you feel good. It's going to make you forget about what you came here for. It's going to make you think, oh, it's going to do something to your heart. It heals. And so that's what it's all about, the healing of art there, like that, you know. So I just wanted to explain a little bit more about that, elaborate on the part of music. It's a really great, beautiful art with us. And so as a song keeper of my people also, you know, I'm trying to instill that within our little son, you know, that he can be able to carry that on to his kids, his grandkids. So I just wanted to say about that much. Thank you.
All right. So yesterday when I was dressed up in my regalia and my garment, I had these little boys that came up to me and they were asking me, "What is this? What's that?" And, you know, it's always nice to have that feeling of kids being curious and wondering, because then that gives them the opportunity to be creative in their own way. And going around to powwows, they come up to me and like they try to follow you. And most cases, it's kind of scary to take that responsibility and teach our younger ones. And I'd also like to bring up what Kozad was talking about, the drum. There's certain songs that are meant to be in a certain time and place, and some songs are given to individuals, and there's a meaning behind it. And it's heart touching because not that it's only correlated to you, but to your ancestors. So it gives you that connection. And it's nice to know that there's something in place for you in this life. Back at home, I have a song that's correlated to me, and, you know, it makes me feel good to help me remember myself and how to express myself and remember my elders and the teachings that were given to me. And instilling that into our younger people is important because it gives them the opportunity to express themselves and be creative. And like Tashina was saying, we don't chase away our little ones. We want to keep them close. And, you know, if they break something, it's you can replace it. Everything's replaceable. I mean, at the time you'll probably be mad and upset, but then that also gives them the opportunity to create something for themselves and to rebuild something for yourself as well. But you just got to be gentle and kind to the kids, especially. They don't know any better, and, you know, they're learning, and it takes a certain patience to get there, and most people forget that. So I just want to say, just continue it into our children and be expressive and take that responsibility to give them that creativity. So.
We're out of time nearly, but thank you all for being so generous of spirit and for sharing with us your wisdom and your knowledge and your ceremony. It's such an extraordinary honor for us to host you here on Yolngu land, and we hope that this is the first of many trips back and forth across the oceans, and hopefully we can come and visit you all sometime. But I think, in closing, what's the one message you would like people to leave this Dharma with?
I guess, speaking for the group, what Garma is, what it represents, the people it brings. It brought us, it brought other visitors from other locations, I believe the South Pacific. And It's a gathering place. And for all of you that are maybe are non-Indigenous, we appreciate that you are supporters, that you came to be inquisitive, to gain some knowledge about who we are, not just us, but of the people of this land. And one of the things is always be open. If you know people that are a little closed-minded, try to find a way to open that mind. Try to find a way to bring them in inclusion. And I think a lot of people that may have negativity speak badly about Indigenous peoples because they don't know. Their ignorance becomes their closure and also their defense mechanisms against wanting to learn. So in closing, for our group, we have had an immense time here. We've appreciated the hospitality. I feel that what we were asked to do was to bring not just ourselves and a presentation of our culture. We brought the spirits of our people with us, and we hope that you have felt them. And we're just eternally grateful for the opportunity to be able to have shared that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me thank our guests. Thank you.